Maria Salazar, District 5. I also serve as chair of this committee.
Victoria Chivetti, mayoral appointee and vice chair.
Hi, Andrea Figueroa, District 7. Marina Cabido.
Lincoln Hall, District 2. Jayla McKee Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Quintanilla, and District 4, Edward Munguia.
Brian Halderman, District 8, Gonzalez Mesa.
All right, thank you. I believe we need 7 to establish quorum. I believe we have 7 sitting at the table. I'm finding that we have established quorum at 6:06. Is that correct, Sonia?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'd also like to have the city staff folks introduce themselves because they're an integral part of the work that we do here. Sitting to my right.
Hi everyone, Krista Culver, Assistant City Attorney. Welcome. Good evening, I'm Sonia Jimenez. We are the Civil Rights Manager and also Board Liaison.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for being here. You all look beautiful out there. All right. I'd like to go ahead and have the minutes reviewed and submitted for approval. The minutes were sent out earlier last week and are also available online if anyone wants to take a look at that. Those minutes are always available online when we have a scheduled meeting for this committee.
A motion to approve minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any amendments or discussions or updates that anyone is suggesting or further discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the minutes as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? Anyone voting no? The minutes have been approved. All right, next on our agenda is public comment. Turning to Sonia, who has taken in some information about our public comments. Do we have any comment?
Yes, we do.
Good.
So we'll start with Councilmember Kaur. Representative Councilmember Meyer, hopefully it works, and
Thank you all so much. I just wanted the chance to address the board and the community at large. I understand the item is not agendized today, but I know many of you must have heard the unfortunate news that we got from the state about having to take action on the crosswalk. That being said, I really want to get ideas from the community and from the board on what else that we can do. City staff has already committed to painting the sidewalks, 1 block south and 1 block north, which is an idea that Councilmember Rodriguez brought up. I was told today to make sure that we include, when we paint that, to include the trans flag and not just the traditional pride flag. So we'll make sure we figure out a way to incorporate that as well. And we're trying to do that before we have to paint over the crosswalk, which we've asked for 3 days on. So what we want the community to know is we want to do even more. So this is our first step to make sure that there is still the flag represented on the streets of San Antonio and in the first ever cultural heritage district that represents the LGBTQ+ community in the state, which will stay in effect. That cannot be removed, but we want to do more. And so there was some, I know I will be following up with the committee, and then I thank you for being my appointee, just with sharing ideas on additional things that Houston is doing. So, and at Keystone meeting, they said also we can do a mural on one of the sides of the building. So we are, I know my council colleagues and I are willing to put our council funds into, if we need to additionally and to show our pride in this community and in this area. So just wanted to share that. I would love to hear your ideas. If you're signed up for public comment, please share additional ideas that you have, as well as frustration, which I know will occur, but we'll want to hear ideas, and we'll follow up with the committee as well as other community members and stakeholders to see what else we can do in the year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Next is Mr. Poindexter.
that I believe, I'm sorry, I was, forgot to mention that we have 2 minutes for each speaker. Is that okay? And just to see if anyone is, if anyone has yielded their time to Mr. Poindexter.
Is it 2 or 3? Because initially that's what it said, 3, maximum 9.
It's usually 3, but I'm working with that we have several speakers that want to be heard.
Yes. So I believe it's up to the chair. We have a total of 10 folks who would like to address the board on agenda items.
Okay. Given that we have 10 folks who signed up, we'll go with 3.
Thank you. There were a couple. So I'm sorry. Okay, so 2 yielded to Mr. Poindexter, so he has 9 minutes.
I'm going to read fast because I have a lot to say and I don't want to be cut off. So, all right, Dr. Tony, whatever. All right. So where are we now? The City of San Antonio filed an exemption with TxDOT using the guidelines that were provided to us on October the 8th. We met those standards as based on safety issues which we clearly have met from pre-installation of those crosswalks until today. We have a governor who, along with the president, is using fear to transform our culture into one of his choosing and beliefs. Pride San Antonio has fought to protect these crosswalks since before their inception and has continued to do so as the concept for these crosswalks was based in a decade-and-a-half-long dream of having a clear neighborhood along North Main Avenue. We anticipated that Gina Ortiz-Jones would win the election, and we began seeking long before the election a meeting with her to discuss specifically the crosswalks and what ultimately became the Pride Cultural Heritage District. Since the election, we reached out to her and her staff to schedule such a meeting, and we've been met with complete and deafening silence. And that silence is profound because it harkens back to a time, this is December, we're celebrating World AIDS Month, that harkens back to a time, and when we remember the HIV and AIDS crisis and the overwhelming pressure our community was facing during that time, and the roots of silence equals death and a place at the table were rooted in that crisis. Our mayor and many of our council, for which this group today strives to be advising, has given up the fight so much, that's so much a part of queer history and identity. During her campaign for mayor, Mayor Jones spoke out against the lack of transparency of City Council and all of the backroom meetings that were part of the so-called Project Marvel. The mayor's silence and avoidance of meeting with stakeholders regarding the crosswalk issue in the Pride Cultural Heritage District while she was actually meeting with organizations that had no part in the fundraising, installation, or maintenance of said crosswalks reeks of profane disgust at the secret backroom meetings of Project Marvel. It seems that she has her own Project Crosswalks as we stand in this room tonight. During the HIV and AIDS crisis, it became painfully clear that we needed government on our side if we were to push civil rights on the right side of history. We learned that from those who seek public office, we must demand that they serve and protect our communities. Mayor Jones gave us permission to go out and actively court to recruit the queer vote in San Antonio, but when the going got tough for our community, she abandoned us and sought to divert attention away from the issues because she needed to find a way of diverting attention while maintaining widespread community buy-in for what she was doing, or at least the appearance of such. In her search for some type of queer connection in order to lend queer relevance to the issue so as to elicit community buy-in, at best this is disingenuous and at worst it's intentionally misleading. We're facing the removal of our iconic rainbow crosswalks for which we've gained national recognition because our city council does not have the will or the pride to fight back against this arbitrary and capricious overreach of power. She says we need to pick our battles. Well, let's look at the battles before us. Allegedly, the threat is $88 million in funding. TxDOT funding is planned out years in advance. So has anybody here or at City Council sought out a detailed project list of what exactly the funding is being threatened, or is this all an arbitrary cudgel to beat our community into submission? The rainbow crosswalks are not even near any state or federal road. They were created through city ordinance, which was intended to provide a pathway for other communities to establish such installations around the city. So why our City Council and manager are not fighting to defend our own city laws? Abbott is is asking us to violate our own city ordinances in order to craft our city to a likeness that he desires politically and socially. Our crosswalks are not violating any laws. Rumor has it that the governor wants to hold the Tarantino corridor and its deadly flood history over our heads for these crosswalks. Imagine our own governor threatening to withhold our own tax dollars to create a potentially deadlier situation out of an already deadly situation, just to squeeze the LGBT community into submission or perhaps out of existence entirely. The spirit of Texas is known for the famous Texan, and specifically San Antonio ideal of victory or death. Well, where is that spirit now? Apparently it's been surrendered because it's incredibly easier than fighting for principle. Abbott is not using any kind of legal rationale. He's merely making threats to see how quickly we will make social change to fit his whims. The crosswalks are not a threat to any federal or state road or even to our community. Our city leaders must stand up to this capricious overreach or else threaten our home rule status. Where does it stop from here? Perhaps Abbott wants to withhold funding until we re-erect the Confederate statue at Travis Park. Maybe until we rename Cesar Chavez back to Durango. Maybe until we scale back the MLK and Freedom Week celebrations, or maybe until we rescind our own hard we fought for San Antonio NDO. What if we're asked to scale back or eliminate our DEI department with the city of San Antonio? And what if the threat was to stop funding paid city staff to support this board, or even to eliminate this board entirely? What would we do then? Would we split our city fight then? Since we're picking our battles, which battle are we going to choose? Military City USA, we just lost North and South Command to Fort Bragg because of a decision by TxDOT, and we didn't stand by and fight for that. Why are we so eager to roll over the governor, allowing us to violate our own, or asking us to violate our own laws with threats to take money away from beneficial things to our community? We got here because City Council refuses to discuss the issues at hand. If Council is hell-bent on removing the crosswalks, perhaps we should go through the process necessary to rescind that ordinance that created them. Where are the discussions about the actual projects? Where are the discussions about a zealous governor who clearly has the same for our community? To remove the crosswalks requires taxpayer dollars. Where is that going to come from? Haven't we just gone through a budget process? Is there a line item in the budget, or are we just going to find the Let's Make Greg Abbott Happy fund and take it out of there? Are we defending our laws, or are we just desperately looking into every dark hole to find money to appease our bully? Our mayor, as well as our entire council, took an oath to uphold the constitutions of our land. And yet neither is opting to defend our own home rule and our own laws. Our brand of federalism does not imply that other levels of government have control over us. So much work from the community and city went into establishing this program for the crosswalks, and many of our leaders courted the LGBT community to round up votes to get them to where they are. Let's not get this wrong. There's been no study of what funds are actually at risk, if any at all. There's been no public forums. We don't even know what would happen if we stood up to the state. I can assure you that if we do, that this city will be a beacon not only to our state, but to the nation, to the entire world as well. Pride, as we commonly know it, is inherently an American invention. When the American Revolution historically was known as the shocker around the world, the Stonewall Rebellion was the brick fell around the world. The rainbow crosswalks are the city's promise to ensure our place at the table. If the city is hell-bent on getting rid of the crosswalks, how about our leaders go on record and take a vote and publicly profess their feelings and publicly rescind that ordinance that brought us the iconic rainbow crosswalks? But better yet, if the very existence of these crosswalks is such an existential threat to our governor, let's defend our ordinance and our LGBT community and tell the governor to bring his own tax dollars, his own crews, and his own equipment and take the crosswalks himself.
Thank you, James.
So, the next public comment person is Rosa Jimenez on the bathroom bill. Is she here? George Perez.
How was my yielding my time?
Oh,
Unless you want me to talk, I can talk. Oh, I can talk.
Alfonso Garcia.
I had you to change.
Oh, you did? Okay. So I had Michael Anderson who had.
Yeah, I did remind them.
Okay. And Luis as well?
No.
Luis Vasquez? Yeah. We will speak to agenda items number 3 and 4.
evening, everyone, and good evening, Madam Chair and members of the LGBTQ+ Advisory Board. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. My name is Luis Vasquez. I use he/him pronouns, and I serve as the Executive Director of the San Antonio LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce. I want to take a moment to recognize our board members who are here present tonight. And on behalf of the Chamber, I want to thank each of you for your service as appointed representatives of your districts and for the critical role that you play in connecting our community with seated leadership. I'm here this evening to speak on two items related. The first one is to urge you to, in your advisory capacity, to work with your representative council members in support of moving San Antonio's municipal elections from May to November. From a business and economic development perspective, this is about access and participation. May elections constantly result in lower turnout, particularly among working families, small business owners, young people, and communities that already face barriers to civic engagement. Higher participation strengthens representation, public trust, and the economic stability that our local businesses depend on. And before I move on into the second item, I want to extend our sincere appreciation to the City Manager's Office, the City Attorney's Office for the effort to seek an exemption from TxDOT while the outcome was not what our community hoped for. We recognize and value the work, advocacy, and care that went into pursuing that request on behalf of the Mayor's Office and the San Antonio's LGBT community. I also want to thank Pride San Antonio for the hard work and that they've done over the years, from the installation to the maintaining the crosswalk. And now, in light of the removal of the Rainbow Crosswalk, I want to encourage all of you to work with your council members' offices to access city resources and identify creative ways, inclusive ways, to continue amplifying the LGBTQ+ visibility community across all of San Antonio, because visibility matters. When LGBTQ+ residents and businesses feel seen and supported, they also are more likely to invest, to hire, and grow locally. The Chamber has provided the Advisory Board with a strategic framework containing the recommendations that we presented to Mayor Jones related to the Rainbow Crosswalk and the broader vision of the Pride Cultural Heritage District. So we look forward to collaborating with you, with members of our community, with business leaders and elected officials on advancing this initiative. And while this framework aligns with the city's Pride Cultural Heritage District staff report, it is also informed through my participation as a graduate of the Economic Development Department Revitalize SA program, and it's also in partnership and collaboration with Localism Inc., a certified LGBT business enterprise focusing on government and international affairs, consulting firm headquartered here in San Antonio.
That's time, please.
Thank you so much for your time.
Matilda Miller.
So, I'm here to talk about two issues as well. Mr. Poindexter summed up most of my thoughts on the Rainbow Crosswalk as well, so I'll be brief there. It's not just a crosswalk, and it's not just a symbol, it's a wedge. If you let Abbott and Paxton and whoever else just hates LGBT people take down the crosswalk and say, okay, well, we're just going to put up more rainbow flags, they'll just come after those flags, and in 3 months, we'll be right back here. They'll come after the Pride Cultural Heritage District. They are coming after our ability to govern ourselves as a city. You as a city do not have a right to do these things for your people. That's up to me, this guy in the governor's office. It's a usurpation of power, and they're not just going to stop. It's not like you can just tell them, hey, okay, have this one little thing, and then we'll all just go our separate ways. They're going to keep going. They have always kept going. And it's the responsibility of the council, of the people in power, of the mayor, to use that power. Like, I have spent so much of my life, far too much, standing at microphones, telling people who actually have power to use that power, to stand up to authoritarian governments. I'm just a random person. I shouldn't have to be here talking about this, but they come for the crosswalk and then they have precedent to start coming after everything else. And that's always the way that it's been. It's always how they approach these issues. It's not a big deal, it's just a crosswalk, and then they come after the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So don't give them this inch, they will take the mile. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about was SB 8, the bathroom ban. On December 6th, I took a group of people to Capitol, and we went into the restrooms all together, no opposition. And then we went out into the rotunda, had speeches, and then we went back into the restrooms, and suddenly they had put armed guards on the bathroom doors. Let me tell you, they have no idea how this is supposed to be enforced. The bill only says that you must take reasonable steps. They will not define reasonable steps. News articles from the think tanks that pushed SB 8, they won't stand by a specific enforcement mechanism. Is it bathroom guards? Well, the bathroom guards are just profiling. Is it going to be a DNA test somehow? Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for the armed guards on the doors of City Hall? Who's going to pay? Is it going to be SAPD taking that out of it? Is it going to be city employees? Who's going to be doing the profiling? Who's going to be just using their vibes to evaluate who can go to the restroom or not? It's an unenforceable law. It is inherently incoherent. Under HB 229, the sex definition bill that they passed, they defined biological sex and gender as the same thing and based on gametes. Nobody in here has had to take a fertility test to get a gender marker on their license. And if it was super important, they wouldn't have let me into the restroom with my ID, which has an F on it, because I got it updated in 2022. If somebody from New Mexico comes to Texas, they're just allowed into the restroom because it's such a huge deal to have us in the restroom, and yet somebody from New Mexico can just walk into the restroom if they're trans. I'm sorry for going over my time. It's an unenforceable law, and even those signs out there are just designed to intimidate people, and putting them up is an act of capitulation. They need to come down, because when you have these unenforceable things, doing them just gives truth to a lie.
Thank you.
Richard Lopez.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for the opportunity where you created this space to give folks a chance to come and tell you a bit about their concerns facing our community. I know that most of you here on the advisory board have probably heard many of the same concerns over and over again. And I hope that we can count on you to have unanimous consent on how important it is to keep the rainbow crosswalk, and that you can come to an agreement on how much pressure you're willing to put on the mayor and the city council to do everything that they can to keep that crosswalk. As individuals who are representing the people in this room, we're really counting on you to do that. As you know, cities across the state of Texas have bended knee to Greg Abbott over and over and over again, not just when it comes to crosswalks. We had an opportunity as a city to really demonstrate the power that a great American city can exert on a governor, and we're failing at that effort. I have very frankly felt from the beginning that the exemption that was submitted was performative at best. We knew that that exemption was going to be denied, given the state of politics and subjugation of our people and the tyranny that the governor has inflicted upon us since he's been in office. We knew that that exemption wasn't going to be approved. And here we are saying that we're going to remove the crosswalk by January 15th. There has to be a strategy. There has to be an effort. There has to be an intention. And there has to be unanimity between all of us here in this room. And so again, I know that you've heard these concerns, but to the people in this room, I want to make sure that I issue you this warning. 3 years ago, when my partner and I started a drag production company, the first thing the governor did was come for us. We simply were trying to build the American dream. Entrepreneurship, as many say, is the backbone of this country, unless you're a gay one. And then they come for you and tell you what you can't do. And he will continue to come for drag as long as we let him. but we've stood up and spoken to him every single time to keep that drag ban from going into effect. Even last week, when the appeals court allowed SB 12 to go into effect, we stood up with the LCLU, and a lot of people don't know this, the drag ban continues to be banned in Texas. It's still unconstitutional. Drag queens can still perform. If somebody like us, you guys who started a drag production company, can stand up to the governor and offer our own livelihoods in sacrifice for our community, this city that has billions of dollars can do it too. On behalf of the taxpayers in this room and across the city, who we know are a liberal, progressive town that has always represented equity for the people in this city. Please stand up for what is right. As this young lady said before I came up here, if you let him have the crosswalk, he will come for your cultural district. If you let him have the crosswalk, he will come for more trans rights. If you let him have the crosswalk, he will come for anti-discrimination laws in this city, just like the Trump administration came for anti-discrimination laws in Arlington. If you haven't already learned about that, anti-discrimination laws against LGBTQ people in Arlington don't exist as of this week because the governor and the president threatened to withhold federal funding, and what's the first thing the city did? They stripped all those protections for LGBTQ people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marquez.
This comment is from Mario Leal. The gap between this board's discussions and lived LGBTQ+ experience is impossible to ignore. Last December, I raised specific practical questions intended to help this board be effective. In the past year, I can point to perhaps two outcomes that moved forward. One resolution requesting protection for the rainbow crosswalk was passed. Even that modest ask was quietly killed behind closed doors. That alone should concern this board. If a low-cost affirming cannot survive, then the problem is not ambition, it is ignorance. We now have the city's first gay mayor, yet the mayor has not attended his meetings, has not engaged with this board, and has bypassed it by working directly with the LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce. Leadership is not identity. Leadership is engagement. The consequences are visible. The board's only trans member was replaced, not with another trans voice, but with someone affiliated with a group that explicitly excludes trans women. Meanwhile, many issues raised last year remain unresolved. No centralized LGBTQ+ programming information, no consistent public safety messaging after the murders of queer men, unclear follow-through on SAPD's LGBTQ+ competency training, and an over-reliance on borders as the primary sites of queer life. That reliance reflects the troubling assumption that the city's relationship with the LGBTQ+ community is transactional, managed through commerce rather than supported through care, safety, health, and culture. This is reinforced by reappointing a board member who do not apply and advances only a pro-business lens. This board exists to advise the city, but advice that is ignored or bypassed does not function as governance. It functions as fear. The community deserves more than symbolism, and the mayor's office must explain why this board exists if its advice can be ignored.
All right, my understanding is that we have 2 folks who have signed out for the meet and greet portion of our meeting this evening. So I don't know if we'll save that, we'll have them comment after we adjourn after our meeting.
Right.
All right. Okay, that concludes the public comment section. Please know that when we meet, you are always welcome to address this advisory committee by signing up on the Speak Up essay or arriving before we commence the meeting and signing in. We welcome this input. This is the second forum that we've had in the evening, taking feedback from everyone that we heard at our June forum, that it's easier for folks to come down and participate and engage and have their input moving this committee forward. All right. Next on the agenda is the chair's report. I'm going to keep it very short. First of all, as the chair, I would like to announce that we have Brian Halderman, who is joining us as District 8's appointee. He was appointed a couple months ago, and he is now officially on board till 2027. As was referenced, the mayor has appointed her 2 appointees, Angeli and Guerra in Washington, Delgado. Unfortunately, they could not be here this evening, but they will be joining this commission starting in January. I would like to take this moment to thank sorry about that. I would like to take this moment to thank thank Christian Sanchez. I believe he may have entered. Thank you, Christian. Christian Sanchez was the mayoral appointee, and I thank him for his input. He provided valuable insight, and I know as an active member of the LGBTQ+ community, will continue to seek his input. I also want to thank Jamie Zapata. I don't believe she is here this evening, but Jamie Zapata is a well-respected businesswoman in our community, and we're certainly going to miss her insight, her talent, her professionalism, but I just wanted to publicly thank her on the record for serving on this, on the inaugural committee. In January, we're going to elect a new chair for this body. I'm asking the committee members to nominate anyone on this board to consider serving as chair. Those nominations, I'm going to ask those nominations to be directed to Sonia, our city staff liaison, and we will have the election of the chair and vice chair in January. So that is the next business item that we'll address next week. The other item I have is I was asked to respond to the mayor with regard to the crosswalk, and I did respond to her. Basically, the direction I was given was to explain to the mayor that we will be seeking community input with regard to the crosswalk, and working with this body with an ad hoc committee to address next steps. We're going to hear the report on the exemption status in just a bit. So that's what we will be meeting with. On that committee will be Ben, Michael Rendon, and Lakin Hall to solicit input and figure out what are the next steps. Please know that everyone on this committee here is very involved with the LGBTQ+ community and hearing out public forums and taking into account everything that we are presented with today. So whatever recommendations going forward will be, that information, that input will be taken into account. So again, I appreciate your comments and your input. The other item is that I was also asked to establish, or I'm establishing an ad hoc committee to just address some internal governance matters for this committee, including the adoption of bylaws, just press release information, and the committee will be looking at those recommendations when we meet again next January. I'd like to go ahead and move forward with, well, let me announce that our next meeting is going to be in January on the 26th at 4:15. The location to be announced, most likely it'll be at the Mission Library or at the Central Library or Trinity University. It could be this location. Some of the feedback that we received is to move this committee meeting around town. So we're going to be looking at other areas of town. That way, people can come and interface with us. So that concludes my chair report at the moment. We're going now to go ahead. I'd like to go ahead and move forward with the city staff providing an update on the Rainbow Crosswalk and the exemption request. I believe Krista will be presenting that? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So everyone, the state responded, as you probably have heard, to our exception. It was rejected in a letter dated November 25th. The city has responded to the state in writing as required. In a letter of December 10th, the city indicated that while we do contend the data supports the intersection being safer after the rainbow-colored crosswalk was installed, the city will, however, comply with TxDOT's request to provide an alternative plan for removal. The city will complete the removal and replacement on or before January 15, 2026. We will seek input, importantly from the community, for potential alternative options, as the chair you heard mention already. Importantly, the city will continue to recognize and support our LGBTQ+ community by installing rainbow-colored sidewalk treatment 1 block north and 1 block south of the intersection. And with that, I conclude my remarks on the crosswalk.
Thank you, Krista. Next I have, I think I just gave you the update on the Rainbow Crosswalk.
Can I ask a question?
Actually, at this point of the meeting, no. But we can take engagement at the public forum section. I just saw Jamie Sabata going out of order. I'd like to recognize Jamie Sabata.
Who's responsible for this, by the way?
Yes. I'd like to, yes, I was going to point out that Jamie served as on the engagement committee of this body, along with Michael Quintanilla and Michael Rendon, and they really pushed us to try to be more available to the community. And again, being here, a lot of this work is her contribution. So we're going to miss you on this committee, Jamie. Okay. I think, let's see. Is there anything else on the crosswalks, Krista?
That is a high.
That's it. Okay.
Highlight.
All right. I believe you're going to also provide an update on the SB 8
Yes,
legislation.
So with regard to Senate Bill 8, also known as Women's Privacy Act, it was effective, as you may know, December 4th of this year, 2025. It applies to buildings owned by the city, but not private businesses. It requires use based on biological sex, male and female, in multi-occupancy bathrooms and changing dressing areas. The city must take reasonable steps to comply per the law. As we heard earlier, reasonable steps have not been defined within the law. The city will comply with Senate Bill 8. The steps the city is taking include signage, training, single-use bathroom mapping, and inventory is ongoing currently, establishment of a complaint process, and there is a Q&A on the Compliance Opportunity and Access website that may be useful. What the city importantly is not doing, we will not have bathroom monitors, and we will not have or request proof or evidence of sex upon entry. There are exceptions within Senate Bill 8, such as for children 9 and younger, as well as for an adult who may need help with care, and as well as an exception for janitorial staff. Privacy and respect of all is a true commitment by the city, and it governs our approach to our compliance. Note that it is the city who is responsible for compliance with Senate Bill 8 and not individuals. And that concludes the update on Senate Bill 8.
Thank you.
I think we have a couple of questions on that.
But
Krista, can we? We certainly can listen and attempt to follow up as needed. And so certainly, I think they're wanting to move me along so we don't delay the meet and greet. And so we can either, you can chair with you. I defer to you.
I can submit a question afterwards if you want. I can submit a question after.
okay.
So
We also have the public forum, which is a little bit more flexible than our formal business meeting.
So my understanding is that we should not be asking questions.
So certainly, Chair, if you want to allow a little bit of time, we can listen, and certainly I can take notes, and if it's something I'm able to address now, I definitely will, Victoria. If it gets into an area where that would regularly be something we would have to address in executive session, which Senate Bill 8, I don't believe that's going to occur, so we should be good. It's just a timing thing, so we don't interfere with the meeting agreement. But I am more than happy to address your question if I can.
Yeah, so just a couple of questions. One, and also, I mean, if you want to address it later, I would like to ask them now, the language used on signage for the restrooms, and also, you mentioned that there won't be anybody checking, right? There's not going to be anybody policing.
Correct.
However, how does the City of San Antonio HR plan on handling if other people take it upon themselves to report?
Okay. So very good question. So with regard to signage, as you know and are aware, the bill is based, it requires use based on biological sex, so the signage is male and female. It does not apply to single occupancy bathrooms, and we will be making, as I indicated, mapping those and making those available to folks. We're currently taking an inventory of those. And your second part of the question, remind me?
Oh, I'm curious how the City of San Antonio
with regard
plans
to training for, yes, HR.
Right.
If someone takes it upon themselves to be a monitor. So we are equally establishing a complaint process, and we will certainly take concerns into account and review, but we are not going to confront anyone within the privacy of the bathroom, and we will provide training to supervisors and those with forward-facing departments on how to address and handle the complaints. We also have a website on compliance opportunity and access that has Q&As that may be.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
I'm sure there will be more.
Yeah, I'll just ask one question then. So the bathrooms say male and female, there's no additional signs that you were putting on top that offer compliance or?
It's male, female, and then there's some of you may have already seen the notice that has already been posted. It indicates, and I actually have it. They have already been posted. It says notice to the public, and this is per state law. Restroom access in city facilities, and it quotes the law. Texas Women's Privacy Act, Senate Bill 8, state law requires multi-user restrooms, locker rooms, and similar spaces in government buildings to be labeled for use according to biological sex. What to expect in city facilities. Then we have 3 bullet points. Clearly marked restroom signs. Single-user restrooms may be available for anyone who prefers more privacy. Safe, respectful spaces for all residents and visitors. And our commitment is also reflected on the signage. Our commitment is that we will comply with state law. We will protect privacy, dignity, and safety, and offering inclusive options to meet a range of needs. And then it also has a Spanish notice directly underneath.
Okay, so that the law part has to be posted.
We are posting what I just read. They've already been printed, and they are on all multi-occupancy bathrooms as we speak.
As directed by the state.
As directed by the state. It's per the state law. Well, let me be clear. Let me be clear. What's required within the law is that we take reasonable steps to comply. As we heard earlier, reasonable steps has not been defined. So we decided reasonable steps to show compliance with the law requiring use only based on biological sex is to have appropriate signage stating what the law says on all multi-occupancy bathrooms. So that was our reasonable step to comply.
How can we file a formal request to have that additional signage removed?
So there is a complaint process, and certainly you can provide that feedback. And
but as a board, can we provide that feedback?
You all can certainly talk amongst yourselves, and would it require a vote? And so that would be something that you could certainly consider, take notes on, and consider for future.
Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We recognize it's very difficult. We do.
Okay, I think we've, the remaining item I see on possible action item is Government Affairs Committee. I actually don't believe, do we have a report from the Government Affairs or an action item? We don't, okay. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, all right. I'm going to move to, do we have from the board announcements? Sonia, yes.
We do have an announcement from Mr. James McKenzie. Is he here? Yes. He is, he works in our NHSD department, and he'll tell you about the task force.
Thank you, Sonia. Hi, my name is James McKenzie. I'm a member of the gay community here in San Antonio. A little higher. There we go. Thank you so much. I'm a renter in Council District 1, member of the gay community here in San Antonio. I also work in the city, in the Neighborhood Housing Services Department. See some friendly faces. Earlier today, we had a panel discussion. Our department is tasked with proposing affordable housing solutions, specifically to increase the supply of affordable housing. One of our target populations is LGBTQ youth experiencing homelessness. We had a great discussion today. I have a flyer out in the front. I don't want to the tables, please feel free to come by. We'd love your input on how to increase affordable housing supply in San Antonio, particularly, like I said, for 18 to 24-year-old LGBT youth who are experiencing homelessness. And we'd love further collaboration opportunities with this panel, this advisory board, as we are working together to address affordable housing. My work with the city is in the Rent-Wise SA program. I go throughout the city and provide renter education in all the different council districts. And one of the things that I hear, affordability concerns, eviction prevention is really needed. So we appreciate opportunities to collaborate on those efforts as well. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, any other announcements? Okay, we're almost ready to go to the more public forum. It's a little bit more open, but I understand before we do that, I wanted to thank our service providers that are out in the lobby participating in today's public health tabling. I'm going to turn it over to Brad Veloz, who sits on our health and well-being committee.
Well, first, I'd like to thank all the service providers that are here today. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule. Thank you for representing, and of course, thank you for the information that you have provided or are about to provide to this group. I'd like to also thank Ben and Antonio Gonzalez Martinez, who's not with us today, board member, for coordinating that effort for tonight.
If you're one of our service providers, could you stand up? If you table, let's give these folks
Thank you. Okay, I think those are all the announcements. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, now we're going to move into the public forum, and we're almost ready to get to the mixer and saying hello to one another. So, public forum, you can, I believe if you signed up, you can address the committee on any issue. Doesn't have to be on the agenda, so it's open. And we're going to follow the same rule, same guidelines. We're going to permit 3 minutes per speaker. Because I think I think that's reasonable. We have 2 folks who signed up to speak at this part.
Would you like to make also?
It's just a question. So I don't know if
That's a clarification point that I have. So if people want to ask questions, they have to sign up. Is that what we're asking? Or can they just raise their hand and ask a question?
Because the question didn't manifest until I heard the report. So I didn't know I had a question until I heard it.
The public forum, it's more open in that it doesn't have to be on the agenda. It could be about anything that's open. As a commission, we can't take action, formal action, any kind of action, because we need to notify the community of anything that we would recommend.
I think the question was whether or not, in order to ask a question, they have to have signed up ahead of time.
Yeah, it's just a point of clarification.
No, I think we have some discretion with that. So I'm opening it up because we do.
We adjourned.
The business
We
portion
just-
is adjourned, and
Yes.
now we're on our meeting group.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Judge.
we go to the mic or do we stand up?
What are your? I would go to the mic. Okay.
My question is pointed to the report on the crosswalk. After reading several media outlet reports on the governor's office deciding to move forward with removing the crosswalk, in those reports it was cited that the city failed to attach a required Texas Department of Public Safety report with the filing for an exemption. Is that accurate? And if it's accurate, why did the city fail to do that? That's my question.
So Judge Rosie and our group here, the requirement that I believe you're referring to is for the engineer's affidavit. And the Federal Highway Manual was interpreted by the state to prohibit rainbow-colored crosswalks. And so, because of that prohibition within the manual, the federal manual that the state follows, it would be difficult to have a city engineer. And we did search and we did attempt to have someone provide that.
So they required you to submit something that was non-compliant with their law. That's how I'm hearing it. Am I hearing that correctly?
So the requirement was that it's compliant, that someone would certify. And so to find you have to have an engineer certify that under oath. And the Federal Highway Manual indicates, and that's what the state follows, that you are prohibited from having rainbow-colored crosswalks. So that's why it was
on a federal street.
And that's why it was difficult.
Main Street is not a federal street.
So I was signed up for this portion about that, and I want to clarify for Rosie something, because I know what she's asking, and I don't think she's getting an answer to it, because we're assuming that the state's response says you didn't file an official sealed federal engineer's report or whatever, but the letter from TxDOT did not request that. So on November the 8th, or October the 8th, when we got a letter from TxDOT, I have the letter. It did not request that. So when we sent a response on November the 8th, of course we didn't include it because it wasn't requested. But now the state's coming back with their response and saying, we're denying it because you didn't include this. So therein lies the problem that we're dealing with. And again, it's a request. There's a lot of things Mr. Haldeman talked about, well, that's not in the law. There's a lot of things not in the law, but we're just rolling over and letting the state run over us.
And just to add, my name is Philip Garcia.
I'm so sorry, I want to make sure. I had asked the question, like, do we have to raise our hand before standing up and doing that? But if we are going to have questions from the audience just like one after the other, then please raise your hand and please let us call on you, because what we don't want is for people to start beginning to talk over each other, because then if we do that, then we probably have to stop the process, go back to everybody signing up. Can we have an agreement on that?
Yes.
Okay, so we had a question before you, and then we'll go to your question.
Good evening, George Perez. I'm with Pride San Antonio, and a City of San Antonio employee for over 30 plus years. What I'm asking the board and I'm asking everybody in this room is that for us truly work collaboratively with each other. I know that a lot of people say, you think you own that part of town, this and that. Baby, let me tell you what, I do own part of that town, because I put my blood, sweat, and tears to be able to make it by running and hiding from cops and getting gay bashed and being out working for the City of San Antonio when it wasn't popular and I was not protected as a protected class. So when you say those kind of things to me, it upsets me, it angers me, because I'm here for each and every one of you. I will give you anything and everything. But what I'm tired of doing is playing nice and turning the other cheek. We need to work together. So when you say that we're going to work together as a collaboration, that means everybody, not the selected picked ones, because you're the in crowd or whatever. Remind us, look at us, we're the elders. We paved those damn roads for y'all to be walking through and prancing around like we like to do in our community. Don't forget that. Don't ever forget that.
There's a gentleman, okay, we have Philip, and then the gentleman right here sitting next to the pole, and is there someone over there?
My name is Philip Garcia, and I'm the president of Pride San Antonio. So when George was talking about our blood, sweat, and tears, I was the one that was cleaning the crosswalk before we hired a company to clean it. So it was me, Summers, Manuel Reyes, and Bonnie Dalton that would be out there every 2 weeks, scrubbing the crosswalk from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning every 2 weeks, doing that manually. My question is, why can't the city go back and say, had we known this, we can ask that question to have that approval? Because you're talking to gay people, and we prepare for everything all the time. We do. We do. So why would the city not allow us to have our voice and be heard and know that we are there to provide everything? Because as an organization, we have met all the city requirements for doing everything to maintain that crosswalk. In fact, what we've done is we've even taken the key of the crosswalk to Crockett Park to clean up Crockett Park and the gazebo that we pay for now. We pay for that out of our pocket with the company that we hired to clean the crosswalk for us. So again, why would the city doubt who we are as an organization and as a community as to we would not make sure we dotted our I's, crossed our T's, and put that period at the end?
This gentleman and this young woman right here. I'm sorry.
Chair, I just want to remind you that we have 2 individuals who signed up
Okay.
to provide.
All right. Yeah, well, let's go ahead. We'll take them after this.
My name is Patrick Miller. I live in Cibolo, but I grew up in this area and I love San Antonio. It's more claims San Antonio, it's more kind than Cibolo, Texas. So one thing I just want to say, I served in San Antonio with HRC with Michael, and one idea I have is we always have to make silver linings out of these hateful things, and we were able, to me, in my head, we were able to repaint the lines in our rainbow again one day, but how do we make this, how do we show them that we grew and we did something bigger than this? And I want to, my idea is having an art piece in the center of the strip, and something that's beautiful. I mean, commission an artist from San Antonio, make it ours, make it our community, and make it cultural. And that's just a thought I have. My parents are from Cleveland, and there's this street has this huge, beautiful chandelier just in the middle of the street. And if we can have culture and commission art from our city, I think we can and show that we grew and we were resilient. And to me, it's a money thing. We're not having the crosswalks because of money, and if we can use some of them, I know we can't use that money for it, but we can show that we were resilient and we built something beautiful out of this ugly mess, I think that'd be good. So, I'm
going to take the 2 folks who signed up and wanted to participate in this part of the public forum.
Thank you for offering a solution and not just writing.
Sorry, so, couldn't hear.
I didn't hear that. Please don't speak out of turn. We didn't hear that. I'm going to call on the folks who signed up.
So, Christian Sanchez.
Hey everyone. Hi. Hello to the advisory board. My name is Christian Sanchez. I'm now not part of the advisory board. I was up until a few weeks ago. I was one of 2 members who were not reappointed by the mayor, one being the only outward or openly trans person on the advisory board. And so I'm going to take this time now that I'm off to introduce myself a little bit more. And I'm glad that this part of the town hall portion, because I'm going to jump around a little bit in some of the things I want to say. So I've been living here for about 10 years in San Antonio. I'm an attorney. I do immigrant removal defense, so a lot of asylum and getting people released from immigrant detention who are LGBTQ. And that's my day job. That's what I do during the day. And as my day job, I'm the chair of the Pride Center. The Pride Center is an organization here in San Antonio, and they, y'all probably know Lex, who's the executive director and came to speak to the advisory board a few weeks ago. But for people who aren't there, I would love to talk a little bit about the Pride Center. Just this year, in 2025, we provide free counseling and mental health services, and just this year, in 2025, we provided over 1,430 hours to 192 individual clients. That is free, low barrier mental health services. And we've also participated in over 180 events, including this one we're tabling outside, and have reached over 5,000 people with information and support services. And we also have groups. So that's the Pride Center. If you don't know us, get to know us. If you don't know me, come and say hi to me, and I'm nice. Introduce yourself. I love that. And so, as somebody who is now off of the advisory board, and I'm going to share some of my thoughts of what I think this board, some directions it could go next. And there's so many issues that our community is facing right now, and I really appreciate the people who are here and engaged in talking about them, the crosswalk, the bathroom ban, so a lot of these issues that are coming down from the state federally. Earlier this year, the Pride Center was a collaborator in a report, Queer Health is the Ultimate Wealth, where LGBTQ plus people all over San Antonio were polled, and a survey was done, a study was done, along with Dr. Amy Stone, Dr. Steven Gonzalez, Ben was a co-author, and so a lot came out of that about what the situation is for queer people in this city. Remarkably worse outcomes in employment, access to health, housing and eviction, discrimination in health services, mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, substance abuse issues, and remarkably worse for youth and transgender people in this community. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to cover. And sorry. How much time do I have? Okay, I'm so sorry.
But
what I would like to say to the advisory board is I think that phase one is done. You've listened to the community and they've spoken. And so I think continue to listen, always listen, but I think maybe phase two is now time for action. And in answering some of these issues, and I know that's not always easy, but I think it's the community has put the challenge before y'all, and I'm here to support you and y'all achieving that mission, and I'm really looking forward to what the advisory board does in the future.
Thank you.
And our last speaker is Ross.
I actually signed up for the other one too, and I didn't get called on. And I'm part of BISAN. I'm actually the founder of the Bisexual San Antonio Network. I just want to say that it's totally on brand for the bisexual people to get over the line. So, it was very strange. I was sitting here waiting for my name to be called, and it never happened. I also learned something here because I didn't really know what this was going to be like tonight. So, you don't have any trans people on the board, is that correct? Do you have any bi people on the board? Is that a no? Is that no? We don't. Okay. That's unfortunate. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and trying to foster a sense of bi community in this city, and I've been pretty successful at it. We've probably got about 1,000 members in our group at this point. And I would like, as you go forward in whatever it is you do, to consider bi people as an untapped resource of support that maybe you haven't considered. I think it would be very easy to put together an advisory board like this and just think, oh, we don't really need a bi person. We have lesbians, we have gay people. We don't need a bi. But that is a total misunderstanding of what bi people are all about, and the discriminations, unique discriminations that we face, and problems, and so forth and so on. And I would love to provide any or all of you with stats, stuff that I've collected over the years, so you could kind of know more about what our community is like. That's kind of really all I wanted to say. So, thank you.
Is that it? Okay.
And before we end, I just wanted to acknowledge the presence of two public servants here, and we have Assistant City Manager John Patera here. Judge Michael Mary was, I thought I saw.
He just stepped out. And of course, Judge Rosa Speedman Gonzalez.
Of course.
Okay, I'm gonna have, I had, this individual, so we're gonna take just two more. We're gonna have, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, but go ahead and address, and then I believe you'll be our last speaker. And then we will adjourn and engage.
And Chair, Judge Michael Mary just walked
You
back.
just walked in. First, earlier we had City Councilwoman Kaur joining us. So.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're totally fine. So my name is Michelle. I'm with the Outline Fireworks Fundraising Group. And it was, I think, an attorney, right, over because we were the city attorney. Okay, so I have a question. It sparked from what you said. I believe when they were talking about the crosswalk, you said something about a federal manual that the state follows, and it says there's no rainbow crosswalks. And how did we get away with having one for almost 8 years?
Well, we are supportive of the Pride Historical District, and so we installed the crosswalk to show that support. And further details within the manual, I would defer.
Here, I'll help you answer. John Terry, Assistant City.
I wasn't trying to.
All good. This is not my meeting. I wanted to listen, but the crosswalk was installed as a part of a pilot, right? And it remained in place as a part of that pilot until what occurred. So that's what happened.
All right, thank you. Thank you, John. And then our final speaker, go ahead.
Okay. I have a few questions. I don't want to take too much time though. Just a few points of clarification. It was mentioned earlier that there would be training for HR employees on the bathroom provision. What would that entail exactly?
So how training will detail how to handle a complaint, also how to work with someone who may request assisting with providing privacy, possibly through a single-use facility. And so those are two very important components that we want individuals who are frontline to be aware of. And so the training includes that. It's important for folks to know they don't receive a complaint and then immediately go and ask someone to provide proof of their sex. We want to make sure that that is not done. And we also want employees to know that they do not monitor inside the bathroom. And so that's included in the training.
Okay. I would also want to ask why the city is taking it upon itself to define what reasonable steps are to our city necessarily, because we already see Ken Paxton going after Round Rock ISD over this exact issue. And when it comes to something as vague as quote-unquote reasonable steps, that can be defined as anything. So why not leave things as they are until the government provides clarification?
We definitely are monitoring and certainly awaiting any further guidance from the state. That's ongoing. But we want to make sure that we do our due diligence in taking what we deem to be reasonable steps so that we're in compliance with Senate Bill 8. And that's what we attempted to do.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's time. All right. We're going to go ahead and Jamie.
Hi everyone, I'm Jamie. I was the one and only trans person on the LGBT Advisory Board who was not reappointed by the mayor. And I have one question, and my question is, where is the mayor and what is the reason for not being here?
Thank you so much.
What a good question.
It's a good question. I don't believe we have a representative or anyone from the mayor's office, but
I'm sorry,
no, we will certainly pass
my
that.
question is for the mayor. I don't expect anyone
No.
to answer for her, but thank you. My question is for the mayor. Please relay the question, Mayor, where are you and what is your reason for not being here and for never sitting down with us as a group to meet with us while we were on serving you as the mayor? Thank you.
Thank you. we will adjourn, and we're ready to meet and greet informally.